Hello. Welcome, everyone. I am Diana Guerin, the Chief Operating Officer of Trade Show Makeover, and I'm delighted to introduce to you our guest today, Stephanie Oehler. She is going to drop some serious knowledge bombs about how you can compete for attention and deals at the trade show, even if you're not the big Goliath. So the title today that Stephanie decided would be a good one, and I completely agree, is, you know, how to be David versus Goliath at the show and win. So welcome, Stephanie. I'd love to hear just a little bit about what made you think that this topic was important, and what have you learned about it that you'd really like to share today?
So thank you so much for having me, first of all, Diana. I'm really excited to be here. And this topic is near and dear to my heart. I have worked for both Goliath and David over the years. And I've exhibited, okay, timeout. Already I need a timeout.
No problem.
I've exhibited at over 25 trade shows over the course of the last 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And I've seen, lots of different things. And I've been frustrated by those Goliaths coming in and being giants in our space and making it really, really hard for the boutique, best of breed companies to really compete with them. It's not a level playing field. So what I liked was that I have some experience with some really great strategies that we've deployed that allowed us to slay the dragon, or slay the giant.
Slay the giant, yeah, mixing our metaphors.
Yeah.
So I'm really
excited. I did.
Because you have a deep experience and expertise already, and now you have a company that you act as an edupreneur, which I just love. Can you explain a little bit what you mean by edupreneur?
Yes, of course. So I went out on my own, away from the Davids and the Goliaths. Now I'm a real David, like really mini David, as an entrepreneur. And I'm in that training, coaching, consulting space. And so my primary goal is to work with people and businesses to help them be more successful. And I do that through education, training, coaching. So, naturally I'm an edupreneur.
It's an excellent term. So, Stephanie, I'm going to leave your contact information in the show notes so that people know how to get a hold of you, because you are truly an expert in the multifamily real estate world. I don't think that's I think that your skills probably translate beyond that. But well, let's dive in. So tell me some examples of some crazy trade show extravagance from Goliath.
Oh, yes. So there's been so many examples of those giant promotions. Some that come to mind right now are giving away a coach purse with a signed contract on the trade show floor.
Wow.
Not everybody can do that.
Wow.
And maybe nor should they, but that's probably a different conversation. There's huge parties, Goo Goo Dolls, David Blaine playing at parties where even if you're a client that's married to that company's competitor, your spouse cannot come. They completely do not allow competitors in some of these parties.
Wow.
These $1 million parties, yeah. And it's just that kind of cutthroat amongst the Goliaths out there. And then one of the big ones that is just still shocking and amazing to this day is, one of the big companies that I actually was with a Goliath company at the time, and they were another Goliath. And, they gave away a Tesla and $100,000 cash.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, not every company can give away those kinds of cash prizes with a Tesla.
Yeah, I'm going to say no. Yeah, not every company can do that. And again, nor should they. But when you are a small company at these shows and you are up against these huge guys, like what can you do? Yeah. What can you do when they're giving away a Tesla and $100,000 cash? Like, it's incredible. But there are ways that you can do it. There are ways to slay the giant. No more mixing metaphors. There are ways to do it with some really key strategies, and that's what we decided to talk about today. So
yeah, so where do Goliaths go wrong, and what can David do better?
yeah. So with everything that they have going on, when you're with one of the Goliath companies, they have the sales folks running themselves ragged from morning till the next morning. They're just constantly committed to events and parties and things like that, and so they really don't give the sales force time to sort of decompress and re-energize themselves, maybe even do follow-up that night. So with the Davids of the world, they're able to really get a chance to maybe grab a client and have more one-on-one, more intimate, direct conversations versus sort of that running around to these huge parties. And they're able to, take that evening, and I used to like, when I was with the David companies, I used to like to remember who I met, took my notes during the show. And then that night, I would send them a LinkedIn request with a note on what we talked about. But when I was with the Goliath company, there was no way that was happening. So the Goliath companies sort of just continue to run the sales team ragged, and whereas the David companies are able to really slow it down a little bit, and so make it more impactful and meaningful conversations, and and really have the opportunity to build relationships at the show.
I think it's really cool, and we're gonna do just a teeny little station break here for a second to talk a little bit about Trade Show Makeover and what clients can do if they're listening. But what we're going to talk about afterwards is you have a very specific example and story about where you were able to dominate as a David company, and I really want to walk through those steps of what you did before, during, and after the show, standing right next to these Goliaths, but crushed your goals for the business. So before we do that, we are offering for first quarter of 2019 an opportunity to do a 30-minute laser coaching free session with a Trade Show Makeover mentor. So if you feel like there's one issue that's really pressing about your trade show participation, and you could bring home more deals from the leads that you're creating, go to www.tradeshowmakeover.com and click on Ask an Expert, and we will schedule that 30-minute free laser coaching session for you. So that's a little bit about us. All right, back to you, Stephanie. So give me your example of being at a David company and really dominating the show.
Okay. Well, it started with some really great strategizing between the sales department and the marketing department. So we all really collaborated together, and we did it well.
Wow. See, that in and of itself is magical.
It really is. It was sort of a unicorn moment. Isn't that your word? So we strategized together. We strategized together on our pre-show buzz and our pre-show marketing. And I'll tell you what that was in just a second. But we also worked together on what the booth would look like, and even down to what the sales team was going to be wearing. So our product was a marketing and performance tracking product. And this was right when the Fitbits were really hot and coming out. So what we did was we sent out Fitbits to key executives, speakers for the trade show, and really got the buzz going for the show. We also wore tracksuits with our logo and everything on it, and tennis shoes, which was the best trade show outfit of all time. And because fitness was our theme, right? Keeping your marketing fit, fitness. We also had a rock wall at our booth.
How cool.
So this was huge. This was massive. And now it almost feels Goliath-like, but we were a David. We were a small boutique best-of-breed company, but we wanted to make an impact. So that was sort of our pre-show plan, right? So the rock wall was huge. You could see it all across the trade show floor, and we didn't have to do one of those drop-down signs that are crazy expensive at the trade shows because you could see the rock wall. So when we were talking to people, hey, just come by and see us at the rock wall. And I did climb the rock wall, and I got to the top, and I do have video to prove it if we have time to show it.
Yes.
So anyway, so that was our pre-show marketing. We also ran a huge sales contest for our sales team. So we were bringing everybody in from across the country. We had 10 sales reps at the time that were in different markets. And they had huge geographic territories, but we really wanted to maximize our time while we were at this particular show. And we created sort of an entire methodology around setting appointments. So the more appointments you set before the show, the more points you got towards a reward of some sort. So we want to, incentivize the behavior you want to see. You want to see appointments. And we had them on the trade show floor. So not only did we have the rock wall in our booth, but we actually had little bistro tables and chairs and our tablets so that we could run an actual demo with our appointment. And so our sales team set appointments beforehand. They got bonus points, when they showed up. And then we gave them time that night. If somebody didn't show up for an appointment, reach back out to them and say, hey, I missed you today. Let's, we still have another day of the trade show. Let's set it up again for tomorrow. And then and those were all their warm leads, right? Then their cold leads, the people that just popped over to the booth. If we sat down and had a demo with them, they got points for that. And the reward was 3-tiered. It was cash. They got to leave the last day of the trade show early, and they got a day off in the future that they wanted.
Wow.
So it was team based. We sort of, broke them up into teams. So then there was some friendly competition as well as, teamwork. and it was wildly successful. Hundreds of appointments were set ahead of time.
Wow.
We started about 65 days in advance. So, you do have to work in advance and know what you're doing. And we set hundreds of appointments, and then we set follow-up appointments. So if you had a demo that was cold or one of your warm ones, then you set a follow-up demo or appointment with them and you put it on their calendar, you got points for that. And that's how we created this entire new, David slaying Goliath process, from all the way before the show, during the show, and then the follow-up after the show was also, mission critical, obviously. And what I'd like to share with you is that we were able to track the shortening of the sales cycle by doing this.
Let's take a minute and I hate this word, but it's the best word for right now. Let's unpack a little bit about what the story was that you just shared with us, because there are 3 or 4 super critical points that I want to make sure kind of land home. The first one is that sales and marketing came together, and I think that executive leadership needs to get behind that sales and marketing come together on. I hear so many of these Goliaths that it's the marketing department that sets the budget, the operations department sets the logistics of what needs to happen,
right,
and they send the sales team, and none of them ever talk to one another about a goal or what's going to happen. So it's almost as if money is just free and they're throwing it away. So I think that's really critical, is that sales and marketing, everybody was pulling in the same direction and they knew what the goal was for this show. So that's the first thing. How did you do that? Was sales and marketing naturally aligned, or was that a new exercise for you?
Well, I want to go back for a second too on your point with the Goliaths and the sales and marketing operations all operating in silos.
Yeah.
I experienced that as well. As a salesperson coming to the show, sometimes I had never seen the trade show material before I got there.
Wow.
And I wasn't even prepared for what they wanted us to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would happen because, again, they were sort of operating in a silo. With this particular show, we hadn't always been on the same page. We had and other David companies, had some experiences where we also made the mistake of sort of operating on our own and staying in our own lane when really we needed to be coming together. So this was not a common occurrence, but this was a huge step in the right direction. And going forward, years after that, we were able to work together more seamlessly after we saw the success.
That's great. So that's the first thing, is really whatever it takes to have sales and marketing, sort of come together for the same goal. The other thing that I think is really powerful about what you talked about is you came with one message and you framed everything else that you did around that one message, which was being marketing fit, right? So the clothes that you were wearing, by the way, I mean, sometimes you just need to tweak just one little thing. How many Davids have I seen where you don't even know who to talk to in the booth because nobody's wearing anything that would indicate that they're with the company. It's crazy. So you looked, you know, it was obvious who to talk to, and your outfits not only were really suited for, you know, a trade show because you could be comfortable, but also it was really clear what the message was about. And the rock wall was, you know, another way to demonstrate that you were about fitness, and you know, just the Fitbit and everything really fit into, excuse me, but everything really fit into that whole thing of fitness. Very intentional about your theme, and only one message. I think, you know, trade shows can be so overwhelming and like, oh, wow, this is our big shot to tell all the 5 stories that we've got. Well, it's really not. You got to find the story that you're leading with, right?
Yes. Yep. That's such a great point.
The one that you said that was so amazing, and I think the companies just, it's an aha moment for them when they get this, but your incentives for your activities at the show are going to be different from the way you incentivize your sales and marketing teams for their regular everyday work, right? It's a very specific kind of opportunity at the show, and the way that you incentivize people to capitalize on that. There's nothing worse than, you know, your sales rep is there and all they care about is talking to somebody in their territory, because that's what they're incentivized for. When you really break it down, you know, you can criticize, but that's the behavior that you're incentivizing. And I think that you just did a brilliant job of getting the results that you wanted because people were incentivized to do what works at the show.
Right.
Brilliant. All right. So, so you crushed the goals. Tell us a little bit about the outcome.
So again, post-show is mission critical, like we talked about. So we tracked the sales funnel progress. If, you know, if they came in as top of funnel, we tracked what that sales cycle now looked like. Or if they were already mid-funnel, we tracked how much we shortened it. You know, we kept up with all of the appointments and made sure that every single sales rep was, you know, staying on top of everybody that we interacted with. And we did. We had, you know, some critical, you know, LinkedIn specific follow-up and, you know, sales rep again specific follow-up. If we didn't have an appointment show up, or if an appointment came and we, for some reason, didn't set a follow-up appointment, I mean, that was our goal from there, is to just sort of lock that next stage down. And like I said, our huge success was the hundreds of appointments that we were able to secure there and after the show, and that shortening of the sales cycle to true leads into deals, like true leads into deals. It was
speaking my language.
Yeah, it was demonstratable. Demonstratable, is that the right word? Demonstratable, right. Mathematical ROI, like the real deal.
Well, so Stephanie, this is really important, because I think that, you know, we can preach about follow-up and we can preach about tracking, but I think the reason that most people don't is because they don't know what to track, how to track, and when to track. And I'm imagining, you haven't told me, so I'm kind of going on a limb here, but I'm imagining that you were really only tracking 4 or 5 things. You weren't trying to track 20 things. So right. What were some of the decisions that you made about what to track, how to track it, and when to track it, so you could come to a real number that you could demonstrate it was a 2-month reduction on your sales cycle?
Well, so we ultimately, it's very hard to tie back a specific deal to a trade show, right, because we don't know if they've seen us, our videos and our marketing and our other email marketing and all of our things that we're doing, right? So what we decided to do was track the sales cycle. We wanted to see if we could shore it up, if we can shorten it, and that was the ROI that we wanted to achieve. Like, we were able to have dollars, have dollars come in sooner on our revenue line because of the trade show. So while they may have been in the funnel, they may have been warm, they may have been in the middle of the funnel, because we, instead of taking another 3 months to close, because we met with them at the trade show, we were able to demonstrate it only took another month or so to get a signed contract. Or if they were top of the funnel and they were cold coming in, instead of a 5-month sales cycle, we were able to demonstrate on some of those deals, we were able to short up into 2 or 3 month sales cycle and recognize the revenue a lot faster. And that was what we tracked. The other thing we tracked was actual appointments themselves. And so we mapped the appointments to where that prospect was in the funnel, and then track the sales cycle shortening. And so we kept it simple.
Yeah, well, and I think you're pointing to something very, very important that people get tripped up on. Attribution is very difficult with any marketing sales activity. You know, what was it that had them actually finally say yes? But when you decide that you're going to do particular activities and you put your line in the sand, you stake your claim that this is actually going to have an impact on something important like the sales cycle, then you start to be able to put these correlations together that you wouldn't have been able to see if you hadn't done the exercise. And I just think that's so important for very process-oriented companies. You can't nail it down. I know you want to. I know you want to like say, so someone said this word at this moment and showed them this brochure, and then it turned, you know, that's just, it's not going to ever happen. And you make yourself crazy trying to figure it out. But when you get very intentional about you're going to put a process into place and your desired outcome is a reduced sales cycle, I think you can start to make those correlations. So I hope that's a huge aha moment for people about tracking. I mean, there's such big aha moments in here, is get everybody on the same page, make your theme, make your message all on one point, track the right things, incentivize for the right things, come home, do the follow-up, and, you know, and then celebrate I imagine you celebrated the success as a company.
Absolutely. We celebrated crushing it. Yeah, we definitely did. That's it was so great fun. And yeah, and one of probably the best of all of the trade shows I've ever exhibited at, for sure the best ROI-wise. One trade show I did win a best use of theme, but that's okay.
That's so fun.
That was super fun, but I couldn't track ROI on that best use of theme.
See, that's the thing. You may have won that, but did that bring home any money? We don't know. One of the things that I like to talk about on the show is, you know, we're in business to do business. So let's start thinking about the things that actually are going to make our business better. So I know you didn't want to sort of pitch your services, so I'm going to do that anyway for you. But what are well, let me just share just a little bit about you. So you're really good at developing talent and energizing the individuals and teams to succeed in a sales sort of environment. Is that right? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it is.
And I just love it. You volunteer to teach at the NALP. You've been the inaugural president of the board for the new Arizona chapter of the Kent State University Alumni Association. So what that just
first woman president.
Yeah,
I was the first woman president.
A lot of leadership, you know. So I just think that's fantastic. So I'm going to put in the show notes how to get a hold of you, but it's Stephanie at savvyleasing.com, SAVVY leasing.com. And what kinds of companies are the best ones to think about hiring you?
So if you are a supplier company, a vendor company, even if it's not multifamily or rental housing real estate industry, I would absolutely be able to help you, craft a sales methodology. I can help you craft a sales message and a way to incentivize your team based on what you're trying to accomplish. I sort of back into that, and it's amazing because there's a lot of KPIs that are attached to sort of arbitrary activities, and then I say, okay, let's stop tracking that or stop looking at that because it's not helping us get to what we want to accomplish. So I'll actually break it down and sort of back out and create new KPIs with you, and help you set new ultimate goals depending on what it is that you want to do. And so I could do that with supplier companies and or what we call vendors, and I am happy to do sales coaching and stuff too. I love one-on-one coaching. I have a few coaching clients that I'm almost sad when our contract's up because they don't need me anymore. I have released them back into the wild, and
you worked yourself out of a job. Oh, that's so good.
I do. That's what I said.
That's so good, because that means you're really for your client's success, and that will bring you more. All right. Well, Stephanie, it has been really fun to have you on this call today. I really love how you just turned some things upside down about the things that really work at a trade show. So thank you for being here, and we really look forward to collaborating with you in the future.
Thank you so much for having me, Diana. I love this.
Good. Okay. Bye.